Hear that? This engine shakes, rattles, and feels tired. Now listen to this one. Smooth, quiet, effortless. Most people think, if my car starts, it's fine. But hidden dirt, carbon, and wear are silently stealing your horsepower and fuel economy every day. Today, we're not rebuilding an engine. We're exploring 17 simple habits any DIY car owner can follow to make an engine run smoother, quieter, and stronger, and bring back that new car feel you've been missing. Let's get started. Habit number 1, the lung check, your air filter. Your engine is basically a giant air pump. The more clean air it can breathe, the better it runs. But when your air filter gets clogged, the engine has to work harder just to pull in oxygen. That means weaker acceleration, worse fuel economy, and more strain on internal parts. Here's the mistake most people make. They pull out the filter, see that it's not that dirty, and put it back in. Instead, do this. Hold the filter up to a bright light. If light easily passes through, you're good. If it looks dark and blocks the light, replace it. This tiny check makes a real difference. A clean, free-flowing air filter can improve throttle response and even reduce acceleration times by several %. It's one of the cheapest upgrades you can make and one of the easiest ways to help your engine breathe like it should. Habit number 2, clean the mass airflow sensor. If the air filter is the lungs, this is the brain. The mass airflow sensor tells your engine exactly how much air is coming in. The engine uses that data to decide how much fuel to inject. When this sensor gets dusty or oily, the readings become inaccurate. That throws off the air-to-fuel ratio. The result? Rough idle, hesitation, sluggish performance, sometimes even worse gas mileage. The fix is surprisingly simple. Use a dedicated mass airflow sensor cleaner and nothing else. Never use carb cleaner or brake cleaner. Those can permanently damage the sensor. Remove the sensor, give it a few gentle sprays, and let it air dry. No scrubbing, no touching. This entire job takes about 30 seconds, and in many cases, it instantly restores a smooth idle and sharper throttle response. Habit number 3, the Italian tune-up, carbon blowout. Modern cars spend most of their lives crawling through traffic. Short trips, low RPMs, gentle driving. Over time, that creates carbon buildup on valves and internal engine parts. And carbon robs engines of efficiency and smoothness. That's where the Italian tune-up comes in. Once the engine is fully warmed up, take the car onto a highway. Then safely accelerate with purpose. Let the engine rev higher than usual for a short period. The heat and increased airflow help burn off and blow out carbon deposits. Important note, do this safely, within legal speed limits, and only when road conditions allow. When done correctly, this simple habit can noticeably improve engine response and smoothness, especially for cars that are mostly driven in the city. Habit number 4, fuel injector detergents that actually work. Not all gasoline is created equal, and not all fuel cleaners do anything useful. Over time, fuel injectors develop carbon buildup that disrupts the spray pattern. Instead of a fine mist, fuel comes out uneven. That hurts combustion, power, and fuel economy. Here's the key detail most people miss. Only cleaners with PEA, or polyethyramine, are strong enough to dissolve baked-on carbon. Most cheap additives just clean the fuel lines, not the injectors themselves. Once in a while, add a quality PEA-based cleaner to a full tank. Then drive normally. This helps restore proper injector spray, smoother acceleration, and more complete combustion, which means your engine works less to make the same power. Habit number 5, replace the PCV valve. This is one of the most ignored parts on any engine, and it usually costs about $10. The PCV valve controls pressure inside the engine. When it works correctly, it vents harmful gases back into the intake to be burned again. But when it sticks, problems start piling up. Rough idle, oil leaks, increased oil consumption, and excess pressure that stresses seals and gaskets. Here's a quick test. Remove the valve and shake it. If it rattles, it's probably fine. If it doesn't make a sound, it's stuck, and it's done. Replacing it takes minutes, and doing so reduces internal pressure, improves idle quality, and helps your engine stay cleaner over time. Habit number 6. Spark plug gapping and smart upgrades. Even if your spark plugs don't look bad, they still wear out. Over time, the gap between the electrodes slowly widens. That forces the ignition coils to work harder just to create a spark. The result is weaker combustion, reduced efficiency, and more stress on the ignition system. The fix starts with a simple check. Use a feeler gauge to measure the plug gap and compare it to factory specs. If the gap is too wide, performance is already suffering. And if your engine has more than 80,000 miles, it's smart to upgrade. Iridium spark plugs provide a more consistent spark and last much longer. That means smoother acceleration, better fuel economy, and less strain on your ignition coils. Habit number 7. Throttle body cleaning. Inside your intake is a throttle plate that controls how much air enters the engine, and over time, it gets dirty. Oil vapors and blow-by gases leave behind a black, sticky film. That buildup restricts airflow and interferes with smooth throttle movement. The result is delayed response, jerky acceleration, and an engine that feels lazy off the line. The fix is simple. Open the intake, spray a proper throttle body cleaner, and wipe the surface with a lint-free cloth. Focus on the butterfly valve and the edges where buildup is worst. Once clean, the throttle moves freely again. And that brings back crisp, snappy throttle response almost immediately. Habit number 8. Battery terminal health. Most people don't realize this, but your engine depends on clean electricity. If battery terminals are corroded or loose, resistance increases. That forces the alternator to work harder to maintain voltage. And that extra load doesn't come for free. It comes directly from the engine. A weak electrical connection can reduce the voltage reaching the fuel pump and injectors. That means poorer fuel delivery and inconsistent performance. The solution is easy. Mix baking soda with water and clean any corrosion from the terminals. Tighten the connections properly and make sure everything is secure. A clean electrical system ensures your engine's components get full, stable voltage, helping the engine run smoother and more efficiently. Habit number 9. Use synthetic oil and high-quality filters. Not all oil changes are equal. Cheap oil breaks down faster under heat and stress, and low-quality filters restrict flow and allow more contaminants to circulate. High-quality full synthetic oil is different. It has better shear strength, meaning it maintains its protective properties at high temperatures. That reduces internal friction between moving parts, and less friction means the engine doesn't have to work as hard to make power. That's essentially free horsepower and better efficiency. Pair it with a quality oil filter, and you're protecting the engine while improving how it feels every time you drive. Habit number 10. Check for vacuum leaks. Your engine relies on vacuum to run correctly, and it only takes one small leak to throw everything off. Over time, rubber vacuum hoses dry out, crack, or split. When that happens, extra air sneaks into the engine. This creates a lean condition, where there's too much air and not enough fuel. The symptoms are easy to miss at first: rough idle, hesitation, stumbling under light acceleration. Here's a simple way to check. With the engine running, listen carefully. A vacuum leak often sounds like a faint hissing noise. Follow the sound and inspect the hoses. Sometimes replacing a 50-cent rubber line is all it takes to restore smooth operation, and even turn off a check engine light. Small leak, big difference. Habit number 11. Inspect and tighten ground straps. Modern engines don't just run on fuel and air. They run on data. Every sensor on your engine sends tiny electrical signals to the ECU, and those signals rely on one thing to stay accurate: good grounding. Between the engine and the chassis are thick braided ground straps. Over time, these straps corrode, loosen, or build resistance. When that happens, electrical noise is introduced into the system. Sensors send messy signals. The ECU compensates poorly, and the engine can feel rough or inconsistent, especially at idle. Here's what to do. Locate the ground straps connecting the engine to the frame or body. Remove them and clean the contact points with a wire brush. Bare metal to bare metal is the goal. Once tightened properly, sensor signals become cleaner. That allows the ECU to manage fuel and timing more precisely, often resulting in a smoother idle and more consistent throttle response. Habit number 12. Check serpentine belt tension and condition. Your engine powers everything through one belt: the alternator, the power steering, the air conditioning. If that belt isn't right, your engine pays the price. A belt that's too tight creates extra drag on the crankshaft. A belt that's too loose slips, forcing accessories like the alternator to work harder and inconsistently. Both situations reduce efficiency. Inspect the belt closely. Look for cracks, missing ribs, or a shiny glazed surface. That shine means the belt is slipping. Also watch the tensioner pulley. If it's bouncing, vibrating, or chirping, it's wasting energy. Replacing a worn belt and tensioner restores proper tension. That allows all accessories to run smoothly with minimal mechanical resistance, so the engine doesn't have to work harder than necessary. Habit number 13. Fresh coolant for thermal efficiency. Engines are designed to run within a very narrow temperature range, usually between about 90 and 105 degrees Celsius. That's where power, efficiency, and longevity all peak. Over time, coolant degrades. It loses its ability to transfer heat effectively, and the engine can run slightly hotter than ideal, even if it never overheats. Here's why that matters. When temperatures creep up, the ECU often pulls back ignition timing to prevent knocking, and when timing is reduced, power drops immediately. The fix is simple, but often ignored. A basic drain and refill with a manufacturer-recommended coolant restores proper heat transfer. That keeps internal temperatures stable and allows the engine to run with more aggressive, efficient timing. The result is smoother operation and power that feels more consistent, especially under load. Habit number 14. Verify tire pressure to reduce engine load. This sounds like a tire tip, not an engine tip, but it directly affects how hard your engine has to work. When tire pressure is low, rolling resistance increases. That means the engine has to burn more fuel just to keep the car moving, especially at highway speeds. The engine isn't broken, it's just being forced to work harder than necessary. Here's what to do. Open the driver's side door and check the pressure sticker. Set your tires to the recommended PSI, not what's written on the tire sidewall. Properly inflated tires reduce resistance. That lowers engine load, improves fuel economy, and makes acceleration feel more effortless. It's a small adjustment that delivers constant benefits every time you drive. Habit number 15. Use the correct octane fuel. Fuel choice matters more than most people think. Some drivers buy premium fuel believing it's cleaner. Others use regular fuel in engines that were designed for higher octane. Both mistakes cost you. If your engine requires 91 octane or higher and you use 87, the computer protects the engine by pulling back ignition timing. That prevents damage, but it also kills performance. The car feels sluggish, throttle response suffers, fuel economy often drops. On the other hand, if your engine is designed for 87 octane, filling up with 93 gives you zero performance gain. You're just overpaying. The right move is simple. Check your owner's manual. Use exactly the octane rating the engineers designed the compression ratio for. Nothing more, nothing less. Habit number 16. The oxygen sensor, your engine's nose. Most drivers wait for the check engine light before touching an O2 sensor. That's a big mistake. Oxygen sensors live in extreme heat inside your exhaust. They measure how much oxygen is in the exhaust and tell the ECU how to adjust the fuel-air mix. Over time, these sensors become lazy. They don't fail completely, but their response slows down. The ECU ends up chasing outdated data, constantly slightly off on fuel trims. Here's why it matters. A lazy O2 sensor can drop fuel economy by 10 to 15% before ever triggering a fault code. If your car has over 100,000 miles, replacing the primary upstream sensor is like giving your engine fresh nostrils. it can finally smell combustion correctly. The payoff? Sharper part throttle response, smoother operation, and a noticeable boost in highway MPG without touching the engine internals. Habit number 17. Intake valve cleaning for GDI engines. If your car was built in the last 10 years, it probably has gasoline direct injection. It's great for power and efficiency, but there's a hidden downside. Older engines sprayed fuel onto the back of the intake valves, naturally washing them clean. GDI engines spray fuel directly into the cylinder. The valves don't get washed at all, so oily carbon builds up over time. The result? Restricted airflow, reduced performance, sometimes even engine knock at low speeds, known as LSPI, low speed pre-ignition. Here's the solution. Use a dedicated GDI intake valve cleaner. Spray it directly into the intake tract while the engine is running. The solvent survives the heat and dissolves the crusty carbon buildup. The effect is immediate. Air flows freely again. Throttle response is crisper. High-end power that was being choked out by carbon is restored, and you prevent LSPI before it becomes a costly problem. Here's the truth. You don't need a brand new car to feel like you do. You don't need a full rebuild or expensive upgrades. What you do need is care. Attention to the little things that make a huge difference in how your engine breathes, burns fuel, and delivers power. From the air filter in Habit 1 to GDI intake cleaning in Habit 17, every single habit we covered today helps your engine run smoother, stronger, and more efficiently. The results are real. Better fuel economy, smoother idle, sharper throttle response, more effortless power when you hit the gas. Some of these habits are cheap, some are simple, some are pro-level. But together, they give your engine a new lease on life. Now it's your turn. Which of these 17 habits have you been neglecting the longest? Drop it in the comments. I want to see your answers. And if this video helped you unlock your engine's potential, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with anyone who wants their car to run like new again. Take care of your engine, and it will take care of you.